been an interesting season thus far in the NHL, and as we head into 2025, I thought it was the perfect time to set out my hopes and dreams for the remainder of the 2024-2025 season. The first one obviously has to be biased. Everybody here knows that I'm an unapologetic Canucks fan, and so here we go. I want the Canucks to move up from the wild card slot in the Pacific Division. Last season, we obviously got our Y, which I think is unlikely to happen again this season. In the 2023 to 2024 season, we finished the season with 109 points. Currently, we're on track to finish with 98.4 points, which would put us on track for a 4th place finish in the Pacific Division. But notably, we had an incredible 103-point season from JT Miller and Elias Pettersson's 2nd best season of all time, 2 players who seem to be in a bit of a rumored feud right now, which they have both denied.
You guys want to talk about it? You want to ask me? Ask me all you want. I can bring up PD and we can do the interview together if that would make you guys happy.
Quite vehemently, but it does seem to have been confirmed by Captain Quinn Hughes and head coach Rick Tocchet, so... Ironically, the next game after this whole drama blew up in the media, we did see Pettersson and Miller work fairly well together and both contribute to the same goal together, so it does kind of remind me how last year there was all of this stuff about JT Miller and Bo Horvat having a problem with each other, and obviously JT Miller having a contract extension that he didn't deserve and that he was being paid too much, and then suddenly he went and had the best season of all time. So maybe the dude is really just fueled by vitriol, I don't know, but I think truthfully we are going to need a better defense if we have any hope of making it past wildcard. Quinn Hughes over here is getting such bad scoliosis, he had to miss the Seattle Kraken game, and I think that when we had the injury to Hronek earlier in November, it really highlighted the weaknesses in our defense. Next, I want the Ottawa Senators to qualify for playoffs. It feels almost endearing to say this. The Sens haven't qualified for playoffs in 8 seasons, and it does feel a little bit like watching a kid finally learn how to ride a bike, even once all of their friends gotten past that point. Currently, they're in 5th position in the Atlantic Division, but they've had 10 wins in 13 games, half of which have been away wins. So, and Ullmark has been incredibly impressive with his goaltending this season, as he currently leads the NHL in GAA with a 2.38. They did have a bit of a rough streak throughout November, and they might have some competition in their upcoming games against Minnesota and Dallas, but overall, they've trended positive lately, and I always love an underdog story, so hell yeah to them making playoffs. I'm down. Let's go. I'm getting NFL updates from my friend while I film this. My team clinched a wild card. His team had an interesting game against the Bengals yesterday, so he's not very happy. Thirdly, the New York Rangers stay in last place in the Metropolitan Division. More than anything, this one is just me being an asshole, but I'm okay with that because the New York Rangers have been a shit show so far this season. Obviously, the discourse about Matt Rempe has been very loud as of late, since it was only earlier this week that he received his suspension. I do believe it was deserved, and that he does need to be reined in, but I also see a world in which he can be trained into being a pretty effective enforcer. It just depends if he's willing to abide by the rules. But aside from that, the organization have really been making an antagonist of themselves this season. Obviously, starting with the memo that was sent around the entire NHL saying they were open for business, followed by getting rid of their captain and sending Trouba off to California. There's been plenty of talk about MSG as an employer and the general quality of life of the people who work for them. Most people have become aware of their absolutely bizarre situation with their social media team, where suddenly now no one from social media is allowed to travel or be anywhere near the team because, God forbid, someone who works in social media went for dinner. And I don't know about you, I love pre-game content that's shot through CCTV cameras in a multi-story parking lot. Overall, the team are just really dislikable right now, so it's quite fun to see them lose. They made playoffs the last 3 seasons, they got the President's Trophy in the last season, and yet this season, their best win streak has contained 2 games against Detroit. So, you tell me how valid that is. End of the day, I am just being a hater, but it's fun. 4th, the San Jose Sharks don't come last in the Pacific Division. To me, this season, the San Jose Sharks have actually been extremely entertaining to watch, which is a really nice change because outside of the 2022 to 2023 season where Erik Karlsson just hulked the fuck up, they have been such an incredibly lackluster team to watch. And I am really enjoying this rebuild around Celebrini. He's been great. It's so much fun to watch the development of a young rookie, especially one that's going quite well. And it can obviously be kind of messy, but that's sort of the fun of it. Now listen, they are on a 7-game loss streak, and they did experience a 9-game loss streak at the beginning of the season. So realistically, their only competition to be able to get further up the Pacific Division is Anaheim, who, yeah, while they're not doing great, they certainly haven't experienced any level of devastation this season quite like that. So realistically, it's a pipe dream, but the team are just fun to root for right now, and you can see some glimmer of hope for their future with a number of these players who are doing quite well. 5th, this is another biased one. I want to see Quinn Hughes win the Norris trophy for the 2nd year in a row. Currently, Cale Makar is leading the NHL in points for a defenseman, which should be really no surprise to anyone. Those two last year were within 2 points of each other by the end of the season. Both of them ended up on an NHL All-Star roster. Though Hughes was on the first All-Star team. Who said that? They're currently within 3 points of each other, although Hughes is just edging Makar out on plus-minus, which is a stat for which Quinn Hughes came 4th in the entire NHL last season, and Makar came 76th. Ultimately, while it's no debate that Cale Makar is a phenomenal defenseman, I think that Quinn Hughes' responsibility to make up for Vancouver's lacking defense, as well as accumulating points in the midst of all of this mess with their offense, is quite impressive. Thatcher Demko has also struggled a bit with his GAA comparative to last year, which for me makes Quinn Hughes' achievements even more notable. At the end of the day, I'm a biased Canucks fan, but I just think seeing this real start to building a formal legacy for Quinn Hughes from 2025 would be really cool. So those are my 5 hopes for the NHL in 2025, or I guess for the end of the 2025 season, because God knows what's going to be happening a year from now. Some of them are hater inspired, some of them are biased, some of them are just for the love of the game. But I'm excited to see how the remainder of the season goes. I always feel like the season's infinitely more exciting after the new year anyway. But let me know what you guys' hopes for the NHL this year are. And let's not even worry about acknowledging the fact that I have not made a video for this channel in over a year, but I do intend this year to be making my way back to hockey content and stuff. I'm very excited about it. So I'm excited, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I will see you in the next one. All right, goodbye. Mwah! Number 6 is that I need to finish bedazzling this jersey because I ran out of rhinestones.